So are we at, oh, we're 4
We are,
after, so
yeah.
we probably should.
Welcome to everybody.
Okay. Yeah, welcome.
It's here.
And I'm going to get our PowerPoint up here. All right. And you share screen on that. And again, if it looks like we're looking up over your heads, it's because all of your lovely, the camera's right below where all your faces are for us. So we really are looking at you. It just might not look like it. Well, we're excited to have you here in January for the, oh, Linnell, it's her first time. Thanks for being here. We're so excited to see you. She was in our training last week that we did for a school district in North Dakota. And we had people from, gosh, Ohio and North Carolina and Orange County and all over. And Linnell was with us for that one. So that was our resilience training. So anyway, great to have you here. Okay. So I didn't want the welcome slide up because I wanted to see all your faces for longer. So we're going to first, as usual, guys, welcome everyone and revisit the challenge from last month. So the challenge that we made last month was to think of at least 3 people that you're grateful for in different areas of your life. Somebody might be from work, might be your family member, or whatever. And then express your gratitude to them in a way that they might not expect it, like a handwritten note or a card instead of a text or an email, a small care package, whatever. And so that was our challenge. And so for our opening breakout group, we like to connect everybody right away. We want you to share your challenge results if you did the challenge, because some people were here on January and some were not. And then if you didn't do the January challenge, what we'd like you to do is share one person that you're grateful for and how you might express your gratitude to them in the coming days. And so we're going, I don't know if you want, you could always take a picture of this slide with your phone if you want to be able to remember when you get out in the breakout room. And meanwhile, I will get our breakout rooms up here and get it where Rick and my extra computer isn't in one of those rooms. Scoot the gallery out. Okay, so I've got the rooms created. So it'll be 3 to 4 people per room. And we'll probably take about, why don't we say I'll do 7 minutes. That should allow about a couple minutes or 8 minutes. Should probably do 8 minutes because we have some groups of 4. And so I'll shoot a message out every 2 minutes just to let you know that like time to switch. And then that doesn't mean switch and come back to the main room. That just means switch to the next person. So anyway, we'll jump out there and this will give us a chance to just connect with each other a little bit. And then later in the hour, we have a longer breakout room that we're going to do so you can really get to chat. Okay. So we'll send everybody out. How was that? Good? Do we not have the most amazing community of people gathered together here? It's just wonderful. Like we just hear this every time. It's like, oh my gosh, I love my breakout group. So anyway, hopefully that gave you an initial just get to connect with each other. So are there a couple people that would want to share? Just unmute and share something that was shared in your group that really, really touched you or that you really appreciated?
I'll go, Doris.
Okay.
Roseanne from Lakeview received the most beautiful card in the mail that were attributes of who she is. And I thought how touching that is when we need some gratitude in our lives.
Yeah, yeah. That's
It's awesome.
wonderful. That's awesome. Anybody else want to share something that got shared in your group?
I'll just mention that a number of folks talked about how important this work is given the situation that everyone's in right now, and that expression of gratitude, reaching out to other people and getting that back yourself is really reaffirming in a very challenging time.
I agree, and I got to tell you, I've been kind of floating since Monday when my mom forgot her stuff. So my mom has been in a is in a retirement community in Massachusetts, 3,000 miles away from me. And I when I order her something, I order it and it gets delivered. Well, this time I realized she hasn't been shopping in a year, so I went and found everything that I could think of. I mean, 15 pounds worth of stuff. She got an assortment of cards that she could give to people, and stamps, and makeup, and puzzles, and clothes, because I feel like she hasn't been shopping for clothes in a year, and black licorice, which she absolutely loves. And
Oh,
she called me, and literally she said, she's talking to my husband, I can't talk because I'm just so excited and I'm so happy. And then she started to cry, and it's like, oh my God. And I have just been floating on all that all week, and God, why in God's name didn't I do that before now? You know what I mean? And it's like, I got to do that again because it just feels good for me. Never mind her. It feels good for me.
oh my goodness. Thank you for
Thank you for
sharing
sharing.
that, Lisa. Wow. That is just wonderful. So great to hear. Anybody else? Looks like Amy's unmuted. Did you want to share, Amy?
Well, kind of piggybacking on that, I did get some notes written because it's something, a goal our team has at my school to acknowledge each other more, and students as well as staff. And I didn't receive anything back. I think I got just as much out of it at the act of doing it, just like I felt like, well, I was taking care of those people a little bit, giving them a little nudge. And I think, I benefited, even though I didn't receive anything back. Sometimes I do. This time I didn't, but it was just as resilient. I, think it helps the resiliency factor anyway.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Well, I'm going to let Rick
No, that's
jump
a
in
good
here, I
jumping
think,
off
and- yeah.
place for me. I'm going to try to be brief. I am going to be brief, but many of you, some of you have had some training in HeartMath, and others haven't. And we've talked a little bit about it. We did a little mini training, the first group meeting. But just a reminder again is that when we are experiencing renewing emotions like gratitude, and we're sending out a card or letting somebody know in some way how much we appreciate them, all of these things affect our autonomic nervous system and they literally affect our immune system, our hormonal system, our cardiac system, our respiratory system. When we do that, it really does affect us. It really does come back to us, even if it might not directly come back to us in a card or something like that. So, the thing is that this is one way to really change not only your physiology, but also it has profound effects on your ability, your thinking, your creativity, your intuition, your problem solving, all of these areas of your body and your mind when you're in a coherent state. And the only way to be in a coherent state is through just generating more and more of these, what we call renewing emotions, because they do renew you. That's why we're not calling them positive emotions. And then when we're in that state of feeling, drained and burnout and anxious and worried and fearful, we're in depleting emotions, aren't we? And when we're in that state, then what we do is we then lose our full capacity to think clearly, and it does affect our bodies as well. And so just working on renewing emotions, just creating more and more renewing emotions, we have so much science now that's showing that this is probably the best thing that you could possibly do for others, but not only others, but for yourself as well, from a health standpoint and from a mental health standpoint as well. So tonight we were going to just mention this thing called emotional restructuring. And emotional restructuring has to do with just simply what it says is that this is a way that we can actually build new neural circuitry in our brain by creating more of these renewing emotions and along that with renewing emotions comes renewing thoughts. Have you ever noticed that? Like, have you ever noticed that it's kind of like really hard to really difficult to have feelings of like fear and think like how great life is? I mean, that's pretty hard, right? And so what we do when we can like identify when those emotions are happening, then we can then make a shift. And that's what we're talking about here. And when we make that shift, we not only are like making this is a psychological shift that we're making, you're actually working on repatterning your autonomic nervous system and your brain and building new neural circuitry in the brain.
And I'm going to put a plug in here for if you have recently joined us and you haven't had a chance yet, you should get an invitation and access to Mighty Networks, which is it's a social network platform that is not like Facebook, not like any of the typical stuff, but it's a real community platform. And in there are our first month's recordings from January or from when did we start? It's been like 5 months or 4 months now. And I would really encourage you to go back and watch the first couple of videos. Typically, by the time we take out the breakout rooms, it's only about 20 to 30 minutes, but you'll really benefit from, we went over a couple of the most basic techniques and things and some of this initial information that Rick's talking about. So,
we're going to talk about attitude breathing tonight. And so we know that we all carry around a lot of attitudes that aren't helping us. There's emotions that are connected to those attitudes. And we know that when we make this emotional shift, that it helps us basically even undo those old negative attitudes that we've had about things. And, even things like forgiveness, right? Or unforgiveness of others, right? And we all have people in our lives that are not so easy to love, right? They like, and
takes an extra dose.
It takes an extra dose. And, so we all have those people that, have hurt us, that have, and these sorts of things. So the point I'm making here is that these renewing emotions and renewing attitudes then basically have an undoing effect on these depleting emotions. So attitude breathing is, even though it seems so simple, it's such a powerful technique to really build more renewing emotions to the point where you're going to have more of these emotions without even thinking about it, without doing anything. And so we're going to go through we're going to give you a video here in a couple of minutes. It's a beautiful video that will walk us through the actual process of attitude breathing, and we'll get a chance to practice that. A couple of things that you can see on this slide are things like attitude breathing through the heart, and then through the stomach, and then through the feet, to really just focus on those areas, the heart, the stomach, and the feet, as you're breathing out a renewing attitude to change an old attitude, to replace an old attitude. And then some of the other things is when you are projecting, this is a big one. Have you guys noticed that a lot of times right before you go to bed, as you're getting tired, right before you go to bed is a prime time for worrying and thinking about the future, things that are going to happen in the future?
We're not the only ones. This is so reassuring.
I'm not going to ask you to raise your hand, but just saying.
Yes.
This is because your energy is down. Have you ever noticed that waking up in the first thing in the morning and you start thinking about the future again? You start projecting what's going to happen today, what's going to happen, is that going to work out, and so on and so forth. You start worrying. So this is a this is one that is really good to do when you're feeling overwhelmed, when you're projecting, and those sorts of things. And the research on this one shows that even up to 30 seconds to a minute, or up to 30 seconds to a minute or two of doing this. So you catch yourself, I'm feeling this particular depleting emotion, and you can make that shift. And with practice, and that of doing this, and you can do it with your eyes open again, and walking or driving or whatever, and just the practice again will start building the new connections for being able to automatically do this. Because think about it. If you look at this particular slide and look at the unwanted feelings and attitudes, my guess is that 90% of those unwanted feelings and attitudes are unconscious. They're automatic. Like we have those things, and we're not even thinking about it, right? All of a sudden you feel guilty about something, or you're worried about your finances, or you're anxious, or you're feeling overwhelmed, but you're really not, there may not even be anything right in front of you that's making you feel that way. It's an old pattern automatic response. And so have you ever noticed that, going back to maybe you're getting ready to go to bed at night, and all of a sudden you start thinking about the things you didn't get done during the day, or you need to do right? And this is like, it's a pattern. I'll stop myself and go, why am I thinking about this right now? Like I could have thought about this 4 hours ago, and I could have done something about that. Well, the reason why I'm thinking about it at that time is because it's just a patterned response. So then that's why we have to really just, go after this with replacement emotions.
So you have the worksheet. I dropped it into the chat, the attitude breathing worksheet. That's what we were just showing on the screen. And what we'd like you to do is just kind of think ahead of, we're going to watch this video, but what is an attitude that you might want to shift out of, that maybe you deal with frequently, and then shift into? And so that worksheet will give the one that was just up there, will give you a lot of those possible options for doing that. And so we're going to go ahead and watch this video, and the video will actually walk us through doing the attitude breathing technique, as well as a little bit of additional just information about doing it. And like Rick said, it's beautifully done. So we wanted to share this with you all, this experience. And then we're going to do a breakout after this where we can share some about it.
The best news of all is that feeling more regenerative emotions is attainable for each and every one of us. Let's shift from left to right on your inner weather report now, using the attitude breathing technique. Attitudes can create bundles of emotions. They can generate emotional undercurrents or background noise that affect our mood swings, the way we feel overall, and our relationships. The attitude breathing technique helps us instate replacement attitudes that are more effective and save energy. The first step is to observe what you are feeling. What emotional patterns and attitudes have you been experiencing today? Perhaps you've been feeling a little frustrated, or perhaps anxious, or maybe a little down on yourself or on life. Whatever you've been feeling, it's okay. It's just time now to make a shift.
Hi, I'm Deborah Rosman, and I'll lead you through the attitude breathing technique now. First, just recognize the feeling or attitude you want to change. What would you rather feel? Then choose an attitude or feeling you'd like to replace it with. Here are some examples. Maybe if you've been feeling stressed, you'd rather feel calm. If you've been feeling overloaded, you want to replace it with a feeling of ease. Or if you've been feeling judgmental, How about replacing it with kindness or compassion? You can now choose an attitude to replace the one you identified, or be open to a new replacement attitude from your intuition. Next, focus your attention in the area of the heart. And imagine your breath is flowing in and out of your heart or chest area, breathing a little slower and deeper than usual. Just find an easy rhythm that's comfortable. As you continue heart-focused breathing, practice breathing in and increasing the feeling of your new replacement attitude. Just stay with it until you start to feel the shift. Now practice maintaining your new attitude and perceptions as you move through your day-to-day interactions. Use attitude breathing on the go and to reset your replacement attitude if it starts to fade. Here are the attitude breathing quick steps. Recognize the feeling or attitude you want to change. Breathe in a replacement attitude or feeling. Practice maintaining your new attitude and composure.
Attitude breathing helps open the heart so that our intuitive heart intelligence can provide insight that allows a bigger picture to emerge in our perceptions and facilitates mental and emotional healing. As you practice maintaining your new attitudes and perceptions as you move through your day-to-day interactions, eventually your heart-brain communication pathway will help you release negative emotional patterns stored in your amygdala and new perceptions that help free you from draining emotional memories. You begin to uncover a new you.
So it's pretty simple, but I think the trickiest part of this whole technique is slowing down and acknowledging what you're feeling. Most of us don't do that enough, but when we do, there's great benefit in seeing how we are functioning within the context of our day, a week, a month, or whatever.
When I had post-traumatic stress and I first started using HeartMath, there were times I had to do the tools every 2 minutes because my nervous system had a baseline of trauma and hypervigilance. But once I learned attitude breathing, if you think about attitudes, if emotions are a flow of energy like a river, each time I use a HeartMath tool, I might be taking one bucket of the river and putting it in another direction. But when I change an attitude, that's like rerouting the river banks. It changes the entire emotional flow. So this morning, for example, I was working with just an attitude that life itself is a gift. And breathing that attitude as I'm preparing right now for a major surgery, it changed my attitude of fear and apprehension moving into this big life event into what a gift the surgery itself is and how that's going to improve my quality of life. I didn't have to micromanage every little emotion in talking to all the surgeons today. I could instead just change an attitude and the emotions automatically followed it. So it's a very efficient move to change an attitude.
HeartMath allows kids a choice point. It gives them an opportunity once they're aware that they don't have to run the mill through anxiety and through fear and through always needing to worry about what's coming next in their next activity or their next homework assignment, that it gives them an opportunity to stop and make a choice. And coming to their heart gives them a focus rather than focusing on whatever else they need to worry about. They can come to their heart. And it's it's a safe place, and it's a place where they can connect with more positive emotions that they can use to break the cycle of the anxiety and the stress from their environments, and gives them an opportunity to input a different emotion that then sets their physiology into a totally different trajectory.
I think that the HeartMath tools really help the individual to use these things in the moments of duress, which is when we want those. And so much of life, what I see is that we lose our power all the time. And I think that tools like HeartMath help to re-establish that connection with what you know is true. Creates the opportunity for you to create a new awareness of what you're doing in the moment. And are you really in the moment? And recognizing that you're in the moment also helps you to recognize that you're out of it. So can you come back to the conversation? Can you come back to the internal conversation?
The huge difference that HeartMath has brought to me in my profession is that I'm able to use these tools in real time. That is the magic of these tools. So eyes open, I can really be in a beautiful heart space with my patient. And if I'm being challenged, if I'm starting to go into the effects of stress, I can actually bring myself back and by focusing my attention on my heart, and think much more clearly and communicate much more effectively with them. So it's really shifted how I practice and how I communicate. So with these tools, you can elegantly navigate away from states that you are less favorable, like depleting emotions, to more rejuvenating, renewing emotions, and to think more clearly and just be a better person that we all want to be.
We actually clear the slate and we come back to a neutral balance, and that gives us more choice in the moment, gives us a pause to be able to say, okay, what do I want to do now? What is the best action or perception for this situation? And having that ability to take charge and pause in the moment and pause our physiological reaction really saves a tremendous amount of energy.
At the beginning, it may seem hard or discouraging. Yet with practice, you can learn to recognize your heart's intuition. Our heart is wise, and it speaks to us in numerous ways. If you can build the habit of practicing techniques like attitude breathing or quick coherence whenever you start to feel stress, you will gain immediate benefits. If you commit to practicing these techniques at least once a day for the next 6 weeks, you will build resilience and have more resources to face the challenges of our everyday life and enjoy a richer and more nurturing experience. 6 weeks is the time that it often takes to anchor in a new habit, to create a baseline shift in your emotional responses to life, a new neural pattern. So it's worth committing to a simple practice that doesn't take much time, but is very effective.
Okay, we love that. It's so beautifully done. Hope that you guys really enjoyed it. And for those of you thinking about that 6 weeks that they were talking about, for those of you who were on some of our earlier calls, I know some of you started doing some of these practices with regularity. And how have you found that to be with doing them on a regular basis? I'm seeing some heads nod around the room, thumbs up around the room. That's great. We've had different folks on different months sharing, how this has impacted them and their experiences, and it's been wonderful to hear. So again, I encourage those of you who weren't on some of the earlier calls, most of the recordings are only about 20 minutes, so 20-25 minutes. I would maybe really encourage you to go back and check those. The other thing is, as we bring on board new folks, which will be second half of February, it'll be open, and then they'll be starting up around the 1st of March. We'll be offering some of those kind of similar sessions again live. And so you could always join us live too. There'll be like bonus sessions to the monthly so that we can help them get up to speed with where some of you all are. So this was just information we wanted to share with you about a study where they collected data from over 2 years from 1,500 individuals out of Fortune 50 corporations indicated that 1/3 initially reported feeling anxious fairly often to always. And in the follow-up assessment after 1 to 2 months of HeartMath tools, 74% of the people reported less anxiety, and on average, their anxiety scores were 40% lower. So those of you who've been on have heard us talk about the just an amazing amount of research about this that is available. And we continue to try to share that, like connected to each of these months. A lot of times I'll pop in extra research maybe into the Mighty Networks platform. And so that you have access to that.
Can I just add one more thing too?
Yeah.
HeartMath did a study on the effects of just feeling care and its effect on the immune system. And they found that 5 minutes of feeling care increased your immune system, for some people up to 240% increase in secretory IgA, which is the first line of defense against viruses, pathogens, and the like. So the average was about 40% increase. And even after 5 minutes worth of just feeling care about somebody or someone you love, then, or something you love, would increase, that increase would stay in effect for 6 hours. And then the other part of the study is they asked people to feel angry about something or someone. And they had a similar effect there where IgA levels dropped and did not even get back to baseline after 6 hours.
So we're going to have you jump into a breakout room again, and it looks like we'll have about the same amount of time that we did last time. We're going to have a couple minutes apiece to share, and we'd like you to use that worksheet, and hopefully you could either view it, or do you want me to pop back to the, so where you can see that and take a picture with your phone? I can pop back and you can take a quick picture with your phone of what that form looked like. There you go. That has the shifts. And these are just ideas, right? It can be your own completely, but it's nice to have some ideas to start with. Okay, we got our photos. Okay. And so what we're going to ask you to share then is thinking about what is a shift that might be most beneficial to you, that you can really foresee yourself like, yep, on a regular basis, that could be really helpful for me. And then think beyond how it might benefit you, but think about how might it benefit those around you, those whom you love, you care for, you serve, you teach, you do treatment or therapy with. And then share with your group as you feel comfortable regarding one attitude shift that you will commit to working on and what kind of benefits that you feel that you might see from that. So if you also want a picture of this one of what the prompts are, you can grab a photo as well. And then I'll get folks out to breakout rooms. When we come back, we're going to have some news about just some of the things that are coming up and to share with you. So we're excited to do that. And we will try to wrap up like on the hour or within a few minutes after the hour, okay? So any questions before we go out to breakout again? Okay, all right, we're gonna send you out and then I'll send the messages each time. We have 4 people per group in every group now, so we'll do 8 minutes total. All right, so I'm sending you on out. How was it? Good. Did you want more time with each other? Yeah, see, it's this dilemma because I'm like, if we put 90 minutes, no one would sign up and no one would come. But then you all want more time, don't you? Oh, goodness. We're going to find ways, creative ways to make this happen. We're going to bend time or do something. I don't know. But so great to know that you're enjoying the breakout group so much, because that's really at the heart of a big reason for why we're doing this, is we want to help you all connect with each other. Oh my gosh, look at that darling face. Aw, and we get to see people's beautiful lives like this too. All right, well, we know it's 6:01. I'm just gonna go through a couple things here and then we will hang out and do connection time for a while with you all, for anybody who can and wants to stay. So your monthly challenge for February is kind of adding intention to this attitude breathing, is to reconnect with your ideal version of yourself. So take a little bit of time and just meditate on what is the ideal character, the qualities, the virtues. Who is it that you really want to show up as, is kind of how I like to think of it. Who do you want to show up as for people? Right? And absorb, what does that really look like? And write those things down. And then that way, have this at the forefront as you explore this month, the power of attitude breathing. And we're going to encourage you to start each day. You remember they said you do you breathe in the new attitude and then you maintain it, you set it and you maintain it. And the idea is you carry it with you throughout the day. And so have these ideas about who you want to show up as at the forefront of your mind. And then as you use the attitude breathing, use that to guide you in what you're doing with the attitude breathing to help you bring the best of yourself for yourself and for everyone else to the day, right? We want you to serve others well. We want you to serve yourself well first so that you can remain well. So that's the challenge, and that will go up on Facebook as well and on the Mighty Networks platform. And if you haven't joined on Mighty Networks platform, please do. I promise you, it is not another, I'm not going to add an adjective to the front of like Twitter and Facebook. I'll just leave that to everybody's own opinion. But I'll just say it's not, this is the non-Facebook and Twitter. This is a platform that really is meant for communities like us to bring us together and be able to share at a quality level with kind of a multi-dimensional aspect to it. So anyway, you won't be getting a bunch of Facebook likes and posts from this particular platform. And then finally, exciting times ahead in February. The doors are opening again. So the community will be open for entry. I don't know if you all know this or if you've shared about the community with anyone. If they go to the link right now, they can get on a wait list. The folks on the wait list will get an email of advance notice before these doors open. And we might give them a link where they can sneak in like a day or two early before this opens. So please be sharing with others who you know could really benefit from joining us. And then at the same time that this happens, right around the end of February, beginning of March, you'll get your next round. How many of you took the stress and well-being assessment? Did you appreciate seeing those results? And okay, so now you're going to get to compare. Where was I 90 days ago? And where am I at now? What things maybe have changed a little bit one way or the other. And so that will be headed out to you right near the 1st of March, end of February. And then we're also going to be starting some book groups in that next quarter. So into March, once we get past our March 1st gathering, we're going to have at least one book group that will center around a self-care topic, excuse me, and a self-care topic, and one book that will center around trauma-informed care and trauma-informed care, serving kids, challenging behavior, those types of things. And we're thinking that what we will do is we're going to choose 2 books in each of those areas, and we're going to send it out to y'all for a vote. Okay, so that you can indicate to us which one you'd be most interested in, because this is for you. We want it to serve you well. So we will be sending out that vote, and then we'll be setting up the book groups. And our idea is that we're going to be setting them up with a very consistent, like, this book group happens on the 7th and the 14th of every month, right? So it's always on those same dates each month. And then it'll land on different night, like, one month it might be Saturdays and one month it might be Wednesdays or something, but that keeps it from somebody always never getting to participate. And so we'll let you know what those are as well. And so we'll have the one group for self-care and one group for trauma-informed care and behavior. You're welcome to be part of both book groups if you'd like to join one, but I think it'll be an exciting way for smaller groups of us to connect more, again, just like the breakout groups, right? Where you'll be with a group of people and the book group might last an hour, but you could choose to stay on and chat for another hour if you want to and get to know people and learn from one another. So we're seeing that as another way to bring you together around topics that you care about and that will be beneficial and helpful to you. So any questions about that before we go to our connection time? This is our latest updates on things that are going on. One of the things we do have is we have 3 upcoming trainings that are open. They're going to be open to the public. They're all 3 virtual. We have one of our resilience trainings that is actually going to be hosted by an agency in Southern Oregon. That's going to allow us to open seats to folks outside of the agency. And then the 11th, we have Truly Trauma Informed. And on the 12th, we have our Trauma Informed FBA training. And again, you all get 25% discount on those. We are changing event platforms, ticketing platforms. And so as soon as those links are set up, we'll then let you know what your new discount code is. Okay. Right now, I don't have registration links for any of those yet. We're just right in the middle of switching platforms. So anything else that you can think of?
No, except it's just incredible to see you guys.
I know we
I'm
were both
like,
getting emotional while you're in breakouts. We're sitting here going, oh my gosh, it's so great to see this person and this person. And oh, I miss seeing them in person. And
we're just so thankful for
Yeah.
all of you guys.
Yeah.
And, I don't even have words for it. I just get emotional when I see you guys and just want to spend so much time with you guys. It's like,
Could we have a reunion or something? We will have, look down the road, just imagine us all somewhere wonderful having a conference or a retreat, because it will happen with this group, right? And it's going to be someplace amazing like Florida where we can go walk on the beach. And yeah, wouldn't that be wonderful? That is definitely part of our vision for this community. So,
Absolutely.
and you know, we'll throw a little teaching in there too, so you can all take it off your taxes. Oh, well, it has been wonderful to be with everybody. Please feel free to sign off if you need to go, and don't feel badly about that at all. And then we will hang here and chat and visit and connect with any of you that want to stay around and chat. We usually end up here another half hour at least chatting away with folks, so we enjoy it. Good night to those of you who need to go. We appreciate having you here. Night, April.